Now, to our first conversation of the day, both local and international business community have been called upon to work together towards unlocking the vast potential of Ondo State and harness its resources for the benefits and prosperity of the people. The Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Mr. Razaq Obe, made a call during the unveiling of the second Ondo State Investment Summit tag, Develop Ondo, scheduled to take place 24 to 26 now in Akure, Ondo State. Well, let's talk more about the prospect of the state. Joining me live from Akure to discuss this, he is the chairman of the Develop Ondo Summit Planning Committee and also the Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Mr. Razaq Obe. Thank you so much. It's good to have you join us on the program. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Happy to be here.
Yes, let's start with the prospects of Ondo State. What really do you have in stock for all of these investors that you expect and think that they will say, Ondo is the place to be?
Thank you very much. The first asset we have is our people. And that's rooted in our leadership provided by Akure, the governor of Ondo State, who has evolved some strategic approaches to growing the state's economy over time. We are blessed in so many ways. We are blessed in geography. We are bounded by 7 states, and access to sea means we are the boulevard to the northern part of Nigeria. We are also the access to the southern and eastern part of Nigeria, and will create the access even to the entire southwest. So Ondo State is the gateway. And we're also blessed in geology. We have bitumen like no other state in Nigeria. We have other minerals, be it kaolin, gold, just name it. Ondo has granite superior to anyone you can find anywhere else in the geography of Nigeria. We are rich in agriculture. Our state is green from January to December. Means we're a hub, a tactical place for people who want to put their funds in agriculture. And we are really growing by leaps and bounds in the front of red gold, palm oil, becoming the leading state in the country producing red oil for export. And we have a people that are honest, people that are intelligent, the people that you can rely on to grow your business, and they have got the resilience to go through all manner of situations. You saw the security issue in the country. Ondo's approach to the effort of our governor is applauded by so many people as one of the best approaches in the country. So Ondo is safe, Ondo is peaceful, and Ondo is secure. It's a place where any business will thrive. And that's why we're calling on investors and all stakeholders to come and participate as Ondo State takes a leap forward. It's time to rise.
I would also ask, and this is the second edition, and some would ask, what were the takeouts or what were the positives from the first edition of this? Because some would say conferences, summits, more of a talk shop. But what are the tangible things you can point out to us taken out of the first edition of this event?
Thank you for that question, Tolu. At the beginning of Akure, Akure's government, we had the first summit way back 2018. And so many things came to the fore. And that was a summit that gave birth to what we call our investment vehicle today, ONDIPA, investment agency of the government, came alive. We have the government creating some strategic ministries, including the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, which we never had before that time. And you will see that recently we got approval for the Port of Ondo. That's one of the offshoots of the development strides that followed that summit in 2018. And so many other infrastructural planning that are targeted at investment. We have the industrial park in Ore, and we are building an industrial city in a larger local government area of the state. So from 2018 to now, you see the quantum of multi-dimensional growth in all areas geared towards economic transformation. And the way we do business has changed since that time. If you want to pick a CFO in Ondo State, we now have a compressed time of less than 90 days versus 10 years or more that we used to have before the summit and before the birth of this administration in Ondo State. And we are supporting the ease of doing business in a way that we will not only provide the ambience for you to do your business, the state has actively participated in supporting organizations building any form of venture in Ondo State since 2017.
Interesting stuff. Let's now look at some sectors that you have in focus. Can you highlight some basic sectors you're looking at? We know Ondo remains very strategic with maritime, oil and gas, even cocoa production. I think Ondo is doing so very well in that aspect. Tell us more about your expectation and what sectors you're looking at.
Thank you very much. Our first focus at this time is the blue economy because we have a strategic advantage. The natural draft of our seaport location of more than 60 meters, it means we're going to be competing positively, not just with Lagos, with Lome and Cotonou. Ondo Port is going to be one of the significant ports in Africa. That's huge, and we expect that to open a new frontier for employment, for industrialization, for manufacturing, and all manner of development in that corridor. Beyond blue economy, energy transition is a global phenomenon. Ondo State has stupendous assets in terms of gas. Our gas reserves at the port are trillions of cubic feet. Some of them about more than 5 trillion cubic feet already proven. So instead of depending on the legacy assets that the nation depends on for gas movement, we can create a hub for gas supply right here in Ondo State, reaching the hinterlands, expanding our reach in supply of LPG. As the nation grapples with the issue of PMS price spike, we are looking at being the state that will lead effort in the conversion of vehicles to run on CNG. And we're going to be converting vehicles and building stations that will do that. We want our gas supply to come right here. We exterminate all those risks of vandalization of pipeline and water view. So that is for our energy. And energy, the layers, we talk about new energy, we talk about storage. Ondo State has deposits in lithium. We are talking to organizations already and we want to show them why they have to build their factories here where they make batteries, because one thing is to have power, the future is how to store the power. As the PMS prices, another fuels are spiking, you see that a lot of people will be bringing in electric vehicles. When you bring them to Nigeria, you have to be talking about battery utilization. We don't want Nigeria to be a dump site. We want the creation of batteries right here in Ondo State. And beyond that, photovoltaic solution, which is the solar panels. The entire world, not just Nigeria, is gravitating towards clean energy. And the sun has been a fountain that a lot of people depend on. So here in Ondo State, since we have the silicon sun that we can use to manufacture our PVs, we are also working with partners and encouraging investors to come and build their solar panel manufacturing structures and businesses here in Ondo State. We have advantage in terms of tourism. Idori Hill, shaking hands with the sun during the day, or Araromi, at Araromi having the Atlantic Ocean, serenading the people. These are things we do hope will be harnessed to make Ondo where everyone who seeks to have some advantage in terms of fun at the same time work, Ondo should be the first place they think about in Nigeria. In agriculture, year upon year, we've been putting so much effort in building red gold, hectares of land, thousands of those have been excavated and they are being used right now to plant palm trees. In the next 1 to 2 years, we are looking at a situation whereby Ondo State's income from palm and palm oil, another area, agricultural area, should go to match at least 50% of all the revenues we pull from other sources. That is the direction Akure has charted, and we are following all of this with all aggression.
Interesting. But you know, when you want investors to come in, you also need to create an enabling environment for them to thrive. That is something that is also very important. What is government also doing specifically to make sure that Ondo remains very attractive? You see states like Lagos, Ogun, everyone trying to make their place attractive. So what more are you doing to make the environment more conducive?
First, when you think about comfort and perks of civilization, you talk about basic infrastructure. Ondo State has put some good quantum of money into road construction to see that our roads are motorable. And you can have security. You can have a place where people feel great without having security. I think the rest of the country can look to the fact that our security network in the state is top-notch. Ondo is one of the most peaceful places you could be, and effort is ongoing at all times to ensure that we move from one level of security to the other. We are doing very well on that front. Then authorization. You want to get something done in the state, we have debottlenecked how you get your papers. We have removed all of the layers of encumbrances in getting approvals. I mentioned earlier how CFO will be given to you within 3 months, unlike before, that you take eternity and you have to get. That has changed in the state. Then we have removed layers of unnecessary revenues, and we have put the same together in a single box that you pay your revenue once and you can do your business. Then assurances. When you want to work within the state and will see what you're doing is viable, the state has issued ISPOs to organizations to help them defend their funding needs from donors and funding partners everywhere, from energy sector to agriculture. And for energy, we are building about 4.5 megawatts power solution in the Alagbaka area of Akure, which is nearing completion, that will make power 24/7, and people can do their businesses either large scale, medium scale, or small scale within Akure. And we're expanding the same to other areas. Deploy mini grid access to people so that you can see in any suburb, be it urban, village setting, or peri-urban setting, you can do your business and live your life peaceably. And a lot more we are doing. I'm making even tourism fascinating, building infrastructure in terms of the locations you can visit, the Donny Hill. We are partnering with investors to build a second to none seafront in Araromi, where people can come from outside Nigeria. They will come to Ondo and they can be there for weeks and they will feel as if they're home.
It's interesting for governments doing all of them. But I also look at the array of guests, both expected and some government officials at this event. At the end of the day, for both participants, what do you think will be the strong takeout for everyone?
It's heartwarming that a lot of people have taken the investment summit seriously. We have got acceptance and confirmation from important people, from energy sector, from the government sector, the secretary to the federal government, Senator George Akure is going to be here, and Mr. President or Vice President will get confirmation about their coming, hopefully today. From the energy sector, we have Mele Kiari of NNPC. We have Benga Kamonafe of NUPRC. We have Simbi Wabote of NCDMB. We have Nimasa MD, NDDC MD, NDDC is even sponsoring. From renewables, you are the President of Renewable Energy of Nigeria. You have quite a lot of people. We have Mr. Tony Lumelu of Harris Holding and many other dignitaries who have accepted to be in Ondo State to participate. What could be taken out of here is forced interaction. Let things be discussed. When you see people you normally wouldn't have been able to see in a single room, now we can have them together and ask critical questions. Stakeholders who have roles to play in making some of our aspirations come to reality, we have them in the same room where they can answer direct questions. So networking is one, and showing people what they never knew before about our state. When we say we are the heart of the frontier star, that Ondo sits where no other state sits, having access to sea and surrounded by 7 other states. We are the boulevard to Nigeria. At that meeting, those people do not know, they can now see. I mentioned about the global move to renewable energy, new energy. Ondo State has solar isolation, which is higher than most in this part of the country as well. I want to showcase all of this and brandish a paper on security. Some people wonder if Ondo is safe or not, and our papers are showing clearly that Ondo State is very safe for business and for anyone to live in.
It's really an interesting one. Let's wrap up with taking advantage of agriculture now. Agriculture seems to be, of course, it's broad, and we have issues around storage, processing, adding value, and all of that. Is Ondo State thinking looking ahead, talking about adding value to some of the products you have or farm produce you have in your vicinity?
Fantastic. About adding value, Ondo has taken steps over time. We have a chocolate manufacturing company in Ondo State with active support of government. We are not just producing cocoa and shipping the same. Our chocolate is one of the best you can have around the world, and that is being shipped everywhere. In Ondo State, our commitment of late, when we started talking about declassifying some land and repurposing them, some people pushed back. But if you check our revenue over time, going from 700 million before Akure took office to over 3.5 billion per month, that will tell you how much progress we are making in agriculture. Supporting those small-scale farmers and supporting those industrial-scale organizations that are sequestering billions of naira, trying to open new frontiers for agriculture. We have been very successful on that front, and we are continuing to encourage them. Let's focus. As I mentioned, Red Gold is a central agenda. If you cannot be number one in anything else, aside cocoa, where we have been number one, we also want to become a regional number one in palm oil. And finishing, you produce right here, and you process right here. Whatever you are shipping a finished product. Other things you do, palm oil and many, as time goes on, this layer one of our strategic plan. First is initiation. We have got to the level of execution. As we move on, of course, we're going to be reaching the level of evolution, where all the multiple layers of things you could do with palm oil, we'll be able to do right here in Ondo State.
Interesting conversation. I will follow up on this and all of the takeouts of this event. I was speaking to engineer Razaq Obe, who is the Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources in Ondo State. He is also the Chairman, Develop Ondo Summit Plan Committee. Thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much, Olu. Thank you.